Of course, the cost of housing is rising in many parts of Canada, but the federal budget that was unveiled at the beginning of April did put forward some new measures to tackle the housing crisis. Joining me now to discuss the rising cost of housing as well as the government's efforts to tackle the rising cost of housing is Housing Minister Ahmed Hussen. Minister, thanks so much for making the time and good of you to make the time to join the program once again. Perhaps we can just start out with the budget before we move on to some of the other things as it relates to housing. But I guess perhaps just to start out, what specifically in the budget will reduce the cost of housing, and I guess are the programs in the budget really going to be enough to tackle the cost of housing, which seems for specifically for home ownership for first time home buyers specifically seems to be an increasingly challenging thing.
Well, Wyatt, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. I just want to say that one of the things that is really uh, uh, prominent in the budget is a recognition that Canada, uh, as having the fastest growing population in the G7, needs more housing supply. There is a recognition that there simply isn't enough housing supply to keep up with the population growth that we have in Canada. And as a result of that, our government is taking leadership. Uh, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has mentioned that the government of Canada will take on national leadership to ensure the doubling of the number of homes that are built to $3.2 million and double the homes that are built currently. And in that effort, we're introducing through Budget 2022 a new housing accelerator fund of $4 billion. And that is meant to support municipalities to remove the barriers and the roadblocks and the challenges that prevent them from building more affordable housing, from building more housing supply, and building it faster. So we will be investing those $4 billion to enable municipalities to improve their housing processes, their application processes, and their housing delivery uh, mechanisms. The second thing we'll help them with is on the cost of land. As long as those municipalities commit to building affordable housing, they can access, the Housing Accelerator Fund to offset the cost of land. Number three, there are measures in Budget 2022 to help first-time home buyers even more, extending the first-time home buyer incentive, doubling the first-time home buyer tax-free savings account to, doubling the first-time home buyer tax credit to $10,000 and introducing a new tax-free savings account for first-time home buyers of up to $40,000. That's going to make a big difference. Of course, increasing supply will also enable more Canadians to have access to more homes. And Wyatt, I just want to highlight that in the recent past, it wasn't and recently it wasn't just a question of the increase in prices. It was a shortage of supply. There simply weren't enough homes to go around, and so we want to dramatically increase supply, help first-time home buyers with more supports, but also tackle the unfair business practices and the speculation in the real estate sector. And one of the ways we're doing that is by banning foreign ownership of Canadian residential real estate for 2 years, and that again should uh, enable more homes to become available for Canadians. Second, we will work very closely with the relevant authorities to ban blind bidding, which has also led to an astronomical increase in home prices. We are not done yet on the issue of speculation in the housing sector, and we have more work to do. But Budget 2022 has introduced those initial steps in that regard while helping first-time home buyers more and increasing housing supply at the same time. The final thing I'll say about Budget 2022 and housing is that there is, for the sixth consecutive budget, you see our government investing more in affordable housing, uh, building 6,000 new next generation co-op homes. The first time that new co-ops are coming online through federal investments in 30 years, $1.5 billion in that investment, another 1.5 billion to build 6,000 permanent affordable homes through the Rapid Housing Initiative, and then 22,000 homes through the National Housing Co-Investment Fund, 71,000 homes through the Rental Construction Financing Initiative, and so on and so forth. So this is about going big. This is about helping first-time home buyers, and it's about tackling speculation.
And of course, you mentioned it in that answer, and we've heard it from numerous experts as well, that obviously the rising cost of housing is primarily a supply and a demand issue. I mean, how do you, as a government, make sure that, as the population increases, the supply also increases so that people
Yeah.
in Canada are able to afford a home, and not just are able to afford a home, but are able to afford a home at an affordable cost?
Correct. And supply, as you mentioned, is can only come through a deliberate effort to tackle the blockages and the roadblocks and the barriers that currently now exist, that prevent municipalities, that prevent private sector, that prevent nonprofit sector to building more housing supply and building it faster. So we are determined to provide federal leadership to eliminate those roadblocks. And we're not just talking about it, we're actually putting money on the table, $4 billion through the Housing Accelerator Fund. And that should make a huge difference. And through that fund alone, we intend to bring online 100,000 new homes, affordable homes, within the next 2 years. So by 2024. So this is a very ambitious plan, and it's a very comprehensive plan.
And Statistics Canada, I want to go to this quickly too, released their report today of a 6.7% inflation rate. I guess my question is just how are you as a government moving forward to reduce the cost of housing? I know this doesn't fall exactly in your portfolio, but reduce the cost of just everyday items, whether it's food items or just other everyday essentials.
Well, we're doing that by, of course, first of all, supporting families through the Canada Child Benefit, supporting seniors through increases to the supports that are provided by the federal government, creating jobs, making sure that Canadians have economic opportunity and economic development in all the regions of Canada, but also tackling pocketbook issues. We're the government that led on the introduction of $10 a day childcare. Um, you know, creating cutting fees in half this year and moving towards $10 a day childcare will have tremendous positive impact on the pocketbooks of Canadian families. When you bring fees down by half, the other, that reduction in fees is going directly back into the pockets of Canadian families. And when you bring those fees down further to $10 a day, it'll have a huge impact. I have met families who are essentially paying a second mortgage in their efforts to keep their kids in childcare, and this will help all those families while also enabling a lot of parents, particularly women, to go back into the workforce, help us achieve more productivity as a country, address labor market shortages, and stimulate our economy. This is a win-win-win for our economy. It's a win for mothers and parents. It's a win for kids. It's a win for our country.
Okay, that is Housing Minister Ahmed Hussen. Minister, thanks so much for joining me once again and for your time tonight.
Thank you so much, Wyatt. It's a pleasure to be with you.